these Olympics. First of all, thank you, Mr. President, for being with us tonight. And our first question is this. Neither you nor the Vice President, the First Lady, nor any high-ranking member of your cabinet will be in Sochi for these Olympics. Why not?
Well, unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to go to the Olympics since I've been president. There are a lot of things going on. Even when it was as close as Vancouver, I didn't attend. And the Vice President and the First Lady, obviously, they've got pretty busy schedules themselves. But we're sending a wonderful delegation headed up by Brian Boitano. Billie Jean King, unfortunately, has a family illness that she's got to attend to. But Janet Napolitano, our former Secretary of Department of Homeland Security. So we've got wonderful Americans representing us. And the truth is, Bob, that the folks that people are actually interested in seeing at the Olympics are incredible athletes. And we will be fielding the largest team ever. And I am very confident that they're going to be bringing home some gold.
As you said, Billie Jean King, recognizable and outspoken figure, would have been there had she not been forced to withdraw at the last minute because of her mother's illness. But you are sending openly gay athletes like Caitlin Cahow and Brian Boitano as part of the delegation. It's hard to miss the message that's being sent there.
Well, there's no doubt that we want to make very clear that we do not abide by discrimination in any forms, including discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation. And one of the wonderful things about the Olympics is that you are judged by your merit, how good you are, regardless of where you come from, what you look like, who you love. And that, I think, is consistent with the spirit of the Olympics. It is certainly consistent with American values, and we want to make sure that people understand that.
The U.S. and Russia obviously have their differences, but right now there's at least one area, where those interests coincide. How satisfied are you about the level of cooperation between Russian and American intelligence and security forces when it comes to trying to keep these games safe?
Well, I think the Russians have an enormous stake, obviously, in preventing any kind of terrorist act or violence at these venues, and they have put a lot of resources into it. We're in constant communications with them, both at the law enforcement level, at the military level, at the intelligence levels, and it's not untypical of every Olympics, whether it's in Canada or China or any place else. We are consistently working with them to make sure that not only are our athletes safe, but everybody who's attending these games are safe. And for those people who are in attendance, my recommendation, what I've said in the past, is just be mindful. And that's true, by the way, if there's a big international event inside of the United States. Exercise common sense. Check with the State Department on their website where they can give you advice about how to make sure that you're paying attention when you're in these events. But we have gotten strong cooperation from Russia. We expect that will continue through the duration of the games. They've got obviously an enormous investment in making sure that these Olympics are successful.
You came into office promising to reset America's relationship with Russia, and if anything, it seems to have deteriorated, and it also seems that if anyone is doing the resetting, it's President Putin. Syria, Iran, asylum for Edward Snowden, laws prohibiting U.S. couples from adopting Russian orphans. How well do you think you can work with President Putin going forward? How effectively?
Well, first of all, Bob, that was sort of a selective list because in my first term, we were able to reduce nuclear stockpiles in both countries. We were able to make sure Russia ascension to the WTO took place so that they were abiding by international norms and rules on trade that provided opportunities for U.S. businesses. We were able to cooperate on Libya, making sure that Gaddafi wasn't slaughtering many of his own people. So there have been ups and downs in the relationship during the course of these 5 years. I think there's always going to be a balance where areas of mutual interest, we work together. We cooperate. It is a constructive, respectful relationship when I interact with Mr. Putin. But there are going to be times where we have real differences, and we tend to have pretty blunt conversations. The one thing I will give Mr. Putin credit for is that when we sit down and talk, there's not a lot of beating around the bush or niceties. I think it's all business, and I tell him where I strongly disagree with him, and he does the same.
Well, you just answered my following question, at least in part, but most people perceive your relationship with the Russian president, this might be the right adjective, this being the Winter Olympics, they perceive it as being icy. How would you characterize your relationship with President Putin?
Oh, I wouldn't call it icy. The truth of the matter is that when we're in meetings, there's a lot of exchanges. There's a surprising amount of humor and a lot of give and take. And he's always treated me with the utmost respect, and I think he recognizes the importance to Russia of working with the United States on areas of mutual concern. He does have a public style where he likes to sit back and look a little bored during the course of joint interviews, and I think that's where some of these perceptions come up. My sense is that's part of his shtick back home politically is wanting to look like the tough guy. And, U.S. politicians have a different style, and we tend to smile once in a while. So
we appreciate the time that you've given us, Mr. President. So one last question. Do you have a message for the United States team as they approach tonight's opening ceremony and the competition that will follow?
Well, we couldn't be prouder of them. I've had the chance now to meet a lot of Olympic athletes, including those that were so successful in Vancouver. One observation when they came to the White House, Michelle and I shook hands and met with all of them, and they all look really healthy. and they're wonderful and spirited, and they just make us proud. And so, as president, I am obviously rooting for some of the older folks. I don't know if Shaun White or Shawnee Davis want to be called old, but at least in Olympic years, these are folks who are repeaters and are going for medals again. But what's wonderful about Olympics is also to see these young kids, 18, 19, suddenly surface on the world stage and perform under incredible pressure. So I think the main message is good luck. We are all proud of you. Everybody back home is rooting for you. We are confident you're going to do well. And I can't wait to have you guys visit the White House after you're bringing home some gold, as well as some silver and bronze. But more than anything, what I know is you'll represent what's best in our country, and we're really, really proud of all the work you've put into to get to this pinnacle of your sport, of your discipline.
There you go, Mr. President. Good to talk with you again. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Bob. Go USA.
More of our conversation with President Obama is available online at NBCOlympics.com. And more from Sochi with